Hi, I'm Erin Lucy, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally doing my second part to my book haul. So the first book haul I did was more like the first few months of the year, and then this has been like since maybe halfway through March, I want to say, somewhere around there. Not sure. I'm gonna really try to keep the intro to a minimum. But I do want to say that I don't include any books that like I do in hauls and vlogs. So yeah, I am pretty proud of myself. I have read actually some of these. We'll start with The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty, and I did read this. Really loved it. I found it was just so fun. I love that like it was about this like slightly older woman who's had a lot of other things happen to her, but it was still like fantasy adventure, super fun. Such a good time reading it. Essentially, she is this like retired pirate, but doesn't really call herself a pirate. And she's been out of the business for like 10 years. She has a kid who is 10, and she gets this opportunity to go rescue this woman's kidnapped granddaughter, and she's like offering a ton of money that would set them up for life. A little strange that they didn't already have money because she was a pirate before, but it's really good. Such a fun adventure. All the characters were so great, and I had a really fun time reading this. Definitely am going to read the others when they come out. So this was first in my little haul. We also have these. I really hope I haven't talked about these before. I don't think so. I talked about them because I've read both of these already in my last like week, like May, reading 5 books in a week. And the first one is Grievers by Adrienne Maree Brown, and I've had a really good time with this. It's like post-apocalyptic. Well, it's about like a pandemic, and that's kind of how everything starts, and how kind of the city of Detroit devolves throughout this pandemic. And you follow this girl, Dune, and her struggles with her girlfriend, with her family. Her mother is like the first patient of this new pandemic, and so her struggles with that. And I had a really good time reading it. It's really short and fun. And I'm going to share this one too, as I did end up I just ordered this one online, but I got the second one, which is Maroons, and I'm really excited to read it because it's been a favorite so far. And then I'm holding these both because I got them from the same bookshop that I will link down below. I forgot the name of it last time. I think it's called Under the Umbrella. It's in Salt Lake, and it is so cute. It's a queer bookshop. Very cute. Lots of amazing books, adorable stickers, and other things. So this is Skin Folk, which is a collection of short stories. I also read that, and I enjoyed it. There were some that I didn't enjoy as much, and some that I did, which is kind of basics of a short story collection. But it is like, so it won the World Fantasy Award at one point. It was many years ago, but I would say there are a few that are pretty fantasy heavy, but it's almost more like magical realism, like these like strange things or characteristics or traits of somebody that like mix into the real world. But yeah, Skin Folk. Next, we will talk about The Past is Red by Catherynne Valente, which I'd heard of vaguely. I don't really know where I heard of this one actually, but I had it kind of on my radar, decided to get it, and cannot remember. I feel like it might have been Thrift Books or something. Not 100% sure. Online for sure, I'm just not sure where. I read this one also in that same week. Really enjoyed this as well. This is post-apocalyptic. Essentially, it's many hundreds of years in the future. The entire world, Earth, is covered in water. And this society lives in the garbage patch on the ocean. And it's all about that. It's about this character, Tetley, and she's really ostracized from their society because she did something that a lot of them deem to be really horrible, which I'm not going to say because I don't want to spoil that, but really loved it. There's a really fun twist. Had such a good time. I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole with this one because I was enjoying the concept so much. I thought it was so interesting. So I figured out it was originally published as, I think it was called The Past is Blue, or The Future is Blue. And then it was published as a book, The Past is Red, in this anthology of stories by different authors. And I'm really curious. I just was like really curious to read it after reading that first one, what other people had written. And this was inspired by, this is my whole rabbit hole. This was inspired by The Drowned World by J.G. Ballard, which I guess is like kind of a classic in this realm of post-apocalyptic writing. Okay, yeah, 1962. This one was published. And this one, I will give I'll try to read some of the back. The Drowned World imagines a terrifying future in which solar radiation and global warming have melted the ice caps, and Triassic-era jungles have overrun and submerged tropical London. Set during the year 2145, the novel follows biologist Dr. Robert Kierans and his team of scientists as they confront a surreal cityscape population by giant iguanas, albino alligators, and endless swarms of malarial insects. Nature has swallowed all but a few remnants of human civilization, and slowly, Kierans and his companions are transformed, both physically and psychologically, by the prehistoric environment. Sounds crazy, but kind of fun and interesting. I'm excited to read this. Hoping to read this in July. Next, we have Ursula K. Le Guin's story. These are her short stories. Yeah, I don't really know much about them. I actually bought this for a specific story. Oh, it was this one. The Ones Who Walk Away from Omilas. And I heard about this quite a bit ago at this point, but was really intrigued and heard it's like a really fantastic short story. I actually think maybe I was Googling like good short stories. That one came up as like being really well regarded. We also have romantic comedy by Curtis Sittenfield. And I heard about this one everywhere. I know it has been all over the place. I actually was not sure. I wasn't sure about it, but I also never read anything about it. I didn't even know what it was about. And then I read Funny You Should Ask. And I think it came up as being like semi-similar to that. And I had a good time reading that rom-com. So I thought this would be really fun. And actually my partner picked it up for me at Costco. First book I ever bought at Costco. Or he bought. So I believe this is a romance that's like famous person, less famous person. I think it would be a fun, quick read. And I've actually heard it coming out, it's come out on a lot of lists for good books from 2023. So, okay. And I have the other one too. I got both the second and third of Before the Coffee Gets Cold. So this is Before Your Memory Fades, which is the third one, by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and I really enjoyed Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I think I read it early last year. Really enjoyed it, had such a good time. It's about this coffee shop where you can travel, you sit in a specific seat and you can travel in time, but there's a lot of stipulations around it and rules kind of. And it is very emotional, and I feel like it's very much about human connection and emotion and relationships, but with this cool kind of very vague time travel aspect. So I would really like to read the others, so I got both of these. This is actually maybe one of the first ones I got from this whole pile, is Untold Night and Day, and I did read this also in May, and it is very hard to describe. It's about this woman who works at this audio theater for the blind, and it's closing, and the day it's closing, you follow her and kind of her boss and a few other characters through that day and night and the strange things that happen. It feels like a dream. The whole thing feels like a dream. It has this very it even says here, hallucinatory feat of storytelling. And yeah, I highly enjoyed it, but I recommend reading it in one sitting because I feel like it can be kind of confusing, but overall, really enjoyed that. We also have Miss Ice Sandwich, which I also read, and this is a really small novella. I think it's just under 100 pages, and it's about this boy who meets woman who works at the sandwich counter in the store that his mother and him often go to, and she has blue eyelids, and she's very has this eccentric feel. He's very intrigued by her and is very fascinated, and so it kind of goes through him thinking about this woman and also him going to school and talking about it to his friend. It was very cute. We have Wanderers by Chuck Wendig, and I read this in April, I believe, and I picked it up same month at Barnes & Noble. I was there at one point and had been eyeing this for a really long time. I thought it sounded like a really interesting concept. This is also kind of pandemic-y. And which is crazy. I think the whole story behind this is so crazy because I think he wrote it I don't know when he wrote it, but it came out like late 2019, early 2020. Very strange. And like the things in this are weirdly, some things are just like, there's some weird parallels between like what happened during COVID, but it's definitely not COVID, different. Anyway, Shanna and her sister, and one day Shanna's like finds her sister just like walking and like she won't respond to any sort of stimuli. She just like keeps going. No response, doesn't understand what's going on, and no one does. Like other people start joining her sister as she's like walking in this like one direction, and it's very strange. No one knows what's happening. So it follows these sleepwalkers, and then it also brings in this doctor who studies diseases, and he has kind of this interesting, strange past, but also he was actually chosen by this AI, which is it's just like a lot of weird parallels. Anyway, chosen by this AI as like, the AI said that this doctor would be the best, the scientist would be the best person to deal with this. So it follows him. It follows some other characters too. There's like definitely this interesting and disturbing plot with this like white supremacist group can't remember actually where they're based, but they also get involved in some stuff. Makes you mad, a lot of it, made me like really upset, but I also thought it was really interesting. I feel like Chuck Wendig did a really good job like writing this and all the concepts in it. I will say, very long. I think it's almost 800 pages, and yeah, very long, but I really liked it, and I had a good time reading this. And I got the second one as well, but I haven't read that yet. So it's called Wayward. So we have a couple more. We have Moths. Sounded intriguing. It says, 40 years ago, the world changed. Toxic threads left behind by mutated moths infected men and boys around the globe. Some were killed quietly in their sleep. Others became crazed killers, wildly dangerous and beyond help. All seemed hopeless. But humanity adapted, healed, and moved on. Now matriarchs rule, and men are kept in specially treated dust-free facilities for their safety and the good of society, never able to return to the outside. Maree has settled into this new world and takes care of the male residents at her facility, but she remembers how things used to be and is constantly haunted by her memories of her family, of her joy, of him. Now the world is quiet again, but only because secrets are kept safe in whispers. And the biggest secret of all, no one wants to live inside a cage. So, yeah. Dystopian, thriller, post-pandemic-y type story. We have Camp Zero. I have no idea where I got this one. In a near future northern settlement, the fates of a young woman, a professor, and a mysterious collective of climate researchers collide in this mesmerizing and transportive debut novel. In remote Canada, a team led by a visionary American architect is breaking ground on a building project called Camp Zero, intended to be the beginning of a new way of life. A clever and determined young woman, codenamed Rose, is offered a chance to join the Blooms, a hired group to entertain the men in camp. But her real mission is to secretly monitor the mercurial architect in charge. In return, she'll receive a home for her climate-displaced Korean immigrant mother and herself. So, more like climate, future, yes. All right, there's two more. And these were actually, I was kind of waiting for these two to come before filming this. I keep thinking, I'm like really hoping I am not forgetting anything. But yeah, two more, and these were book of the months. And I paused my subscription for a while. I have a lot of books and I haven't read them or even close. My TBR so freaking long, and I think book of the month is awesome, but I just don't need any more books. So I had paused it for a while, kind of forgot about it. So I had some credits, so I got some more. And then I ended up canceling, not to say I won't go back, but I just want to be completely transparent about that because, yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's a really cool service, but I also find myself buying books because I do a lot of research into books myself, and I love going to the bookstore and picking books out. So for me, I'm going to just take a break from it. But they do have lots of cool selections. So I chose, and this was not, I was not super psyched about any of the current month's picks, so I ended up choosing one that was like in their alternative picks or something. This is called The Soulmate by Sally Hepworth, which I think just came out really recently. It's a thriller mystery something. I don't do a ton of those, but I really enjoy them when I do. But this sounded really interesting. So, picture a lovely cottage on a cliff with sloping lawns, walking paths, and beautiful flowers. It's Gabe and Pippa Wright's dream home in a sleepy coastal town. But their perfect house hides something sinister. The tall cliffs have become a popular spot for people to end their lives. Over the past several months, Gabe comes to their rescue, literally talking them off the ledge. Until one day he doesn't. When Pippa discovers Gabe knew the victim, the questions spiral. Did the victim jump? Was she pushed? And would Gabe, the love of Pippa's life, her soulmate, lie? As the perfect facade of their marriage begins to crack, the deepest and darkest secrets begin to unravel. Because sometimes the most convincing lies are the ones we tell ourselves. And it's kind of fun to have a few little thriller mystery. I found them like some romance, and those thriller mysteries I often can get through really quick because I just like want to know what happens. So it's fun to have some of those on hand. And then the last book is The Space Between Worlds. And don't know much about this, but actually since I put my order in, I've seen it a few places, maybe a few videos and such. So I think it's about the multiverse. Yeah, so multiverse travel is finally possible, but there's one catch. No one can visit a world where their counterpart is still alive. Enter Kara, whose parallel selves happen to be exceptionally good at dying. From disease, turf wars, or vendettas they couldn't outrun. Kara's life has been cut short on 372 worlds in total. On this Earth, however, Kara has survived, identified as an outlier and therefore a perfect candidate for multiverse travel. Kara is plucked from the dirt of the wastelands. Now she has a nice apartment on the lower levels of the wealthy and walled-off Wiley city. She works and shamelessly flirts with her enticing yet aloof handler, Dell, as the two women collect off-world data for the Elridge Institute. She even occasionally leaves the city to visit her family in the Wastes, though she struggles to feel at home in either place. As long as she can keep her head down and avoid trouble, Kara is on a sure path to citizenship and security. So, I was really intrigued by the whole multiverse concept, and I don't think I've read anything like that before. So, Space Between Worlds. And I believe that's it. My second part of my huge book haul, just like can't stop myself. I've really tried to be good lately, but I am going home to Colorado soon, and I know I want to do a little book shopping trip while I'm there, because there are some really good bookstores, so that's going to be really hard. But yeah, I would love to hear about any books you've acquired recently or read and loved. It's almost halfway through the year, and that's crazy. I just like, it always flies by so fast. Thanks for watching, and I hope you are having a great day.